Hi guys, welcome back to this amazing YouTube channel. How you guys doing? Hope you guys are good. So if this is your first time coming across the channel, do it to subscribe, like, share. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell to get notified whenever any video is being posted. Okay, so in today's video, we'll be cutting this beautiful blouse and this amazing sleeves as you can see her putting on. It's a very quick one, a very simple tutorial we'll be doing today. So stay tuned. So these are the items I'll be working with. That's my tape, my scissors for cutting, my ruler to rule down what I'm supposed to do, my pen. Then the breast pad we'll be using here. We'll be using this shiny part to place it on top of the back part of the material. We use the shiny part of this breast wadding. We'll use our pattern paper for drafting first. Then we use our lining. We'll use our soft gum or paper gum. I don't know what you know it with, but paper gum or soft gum, I don't know what you might know. So this rough side is what will be first of all attached to our material. Use our iron to iron it down. Then we'll be making use of this Mikado material. It's a very nice material, as you can see, or as you earlier saw on the client's body. So nice. You can as well make use of crepe material if that's what you have as well. Then these are chalk I'll be using to mark on my main fabric. So let's dive right into the making of this video. So we're starting with folding our pattern paper into two. In fact, cutting any dress requires folding your material. Any dress you're cutting, be it trouser, be it whatever, be it pant and bra, you need to fold it. It needs to be on fold, okay? So we start by folding our material into two. After folding it, we start imputing. We start inserting our measurement. I minus 6 at the upper part there. I'll be replacing it with my sleeves. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to take down my bust measurement, my under bust measurement, my waist measurement, and the full length of the blouse I'll be working with. That's my bust measurement. My bust measurement, the actual measurement is 9, but I don't just mark on that 9 measurement, on that 9 exactly, because I don't want a situation whereby after sewing, it won't the pointed your nipple points will be the clothes will be on top of your nipple point instead of the point to align with your bust. It won't align. So I always add an inch to my bust point measurement. So in this case, we are working with 9 inches as a bust point, but while cutting it, I added an inch to it. That is 10 inches. My under bust, I also added an inch to width. That is how I do my own cutting when it comes to bustier dresses. Any bustier at all, I add an inch to all my measurements so that at the end of the day, I won't be getting what I ordered versus what I get, or versus what I got. So after inserting my measurements, I have to draw the line straight. And then after that, the next thing we'll be doing is to mark our okay, I'm labeling it at this point: bust point, under bust, my waist, and my full length. And you guys know, in making a full blouse, at your full length, in making a full blouse, the measurement needed for the blouse, the largest measurement or the highest measurement needed for the blouse is your hip area. I believe that is the highest part, the biggest part of your body, which is your hip, is what is needed. But for those that the biggest part of your body is tummy, you can make use of that one too. Yeah, if your tummy is bigger than your. Anyway, that's not why we are here. So now we'll cut we'll divide our nipple to nipple measurements, and hope you guys also know that nipple to nipple measurement varies. It's not the same for Mr. A, Mrs. A, it won't be the same for Mrs. B. So in this case, I'm working with 4.5 inch as my nipple point. The nipple point there is 4 inch, then additional half inch for my sewing allowance. So I had to mark it down, and I'll mark it straight down to my full length, and again my upper part, which is my chest line, just the way you see me doing. So at this outer part, I'll be going out by 1.5 inch in that part. I'll mark 1.5 inch here, and again mark 1 inch at the inner part. This also varies, depends on the size of the bust you're working with, or how fully padded you want it. Like if you want it to be more busty, even if that person doesn't have bust, the it depends on the measurements you go in and out with. It depends on how full you want it to be. So after that, I'll be connecting my line here straight to my bust point in a slant form, as you can see. And if you are not also new to this channel, you should be used to this pattern already, because most of my videos here is on bustier, princess, that anything that has to do with bustier, that's what I do. So at this point, I marked half inch on the both sides. I marked half inch on the both sides. Then I will connect it here. I'll start drawing a straight line from my nipple point to connect it up to that place I marked my half inch, and I'll do that on the both sides. Like I said, it will be on the both sides, half inch on the both sides. So I'm going to extend that line down to the full part of my gown, down to the full length of my blouse. So now this 6 inch I minused, I want to get my armhole measurement. So I'll be minusing my 6 inch measurement to get my armhole measurement, which is 9. I minus the 6, like I placed my, as you can see how I placed my tape to minus the 6 in order to get my armhole measurement. Then I marked it down there. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to insert my measurements. They are all divided by 4. So I inserted my bust measurement, divide it by 4 to get what I want. Then you remember this place that will be marking out the center piece. We will need to add all the allowance that will be taken out. We need to add all these allowance that will be taken out. We need to add it to the dress, so that at the end of the day it will still be that person's size, it will still fit into that person. So now I'm measuring my under bust. Most times your under bust and your waist, on your waist, might have the same measurement, in most cases, not all, in most cases. So these 3 inches, this 2.5 inch I am cutting out, I will also replace it back. I replaced it back and then added my additional sewing allowance to it. This center piece I will be minusing. I'll replace it back and then add another sewing allowance. Add another sewing allowance to it. Then we'll taking our measurement over to the hip part, which is the down part of the material. So now we'll be dividing our hip measurements into 4. At that point there, my my pattern paper didn't get to that to the desired measurement I want. So I'll be replacing the measurement needed. I'll be replacing the measurement left needed for my blouse. I'll be replacing it on my main fabric. Just keep watching and see how I did all of that. So here I want to get my shoulder measurements. So I had to place my tape like this. This is how it works for me. I placed my tape like this, got my shoulder measurement divided into two, and I drew a line starting from my shoulder measurement straight to my armhole, which is same 9 inches where I marked the initial place. So now I want to put a slant cut there or a curve cut there. That is why I'm doing all this, to be sure I'm on a safe path. So after that, you remember this half inch we are minusing. Half plus half is 1, right? So this half inch, if my shoulder measurement was 8 or 7, I will add an additional 1 inch to it, so that at the end of the day my shoulder will not be less. It is even better you add 1.5. It's better is more than it's not being enough. You get? So I added the 1 inch. I'll be minusing at that part. I added it back to my shoulder measurement. Then at this point I'll be going down by 2 inch to get a sweetheart neck. But I don't want it to be that deep. I don't want any cleavage to show. She doesn't want it to show. But if you want yours to show, why not? You can go in by 4. You can go in by your desired um number, by your desired measurement. So that is it. Then here, this point, I remembered something. I'm to curve that area, my side area. I'm to curve it. I'm not supposed to cut it to have pointed at the sides of the blouse. So I went in by 2 inch there. I placed my tape like this, went in by 2 inch, and then curved it. You might not see it clear, but after cutting, I will arrange it so that you get to understand what I did over there. So this part will be going out, and remember I've already replaced it. This part that will be cutting out has already been replaced when I was taking my measurements. So this is how it should be looking. This is how it should be looking if you're doing this right now. If you're following the steps, this is how it should be looking. This is how it should be. So at that side, that end, as I explained earlier, that I went in by 2 inch to give it a curve. I don't want it pointed. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to place this pattern on my fabric. I'll place this pattern on my fabric to cut them out. So when I placed it, I noticed that the allowance there was too much. I had to reduce it because I'm not supposed to waste the material. It's too much. I reduced it again. So make sure you have your pin close to you so that you use your pin to pin it down. At this point, I don't even know where my pin is, so I had to use my MP3 to hold it down. So next thing I got was my scissors. I used it to cut it out. So now I'll be cutting out the sides now. And remember I said when I was cutting it earlier, I said that part I didn't get up to my desired measurement there. So what I'm doing right now is to add up the desired measurement I wanted at that waist part, at that hip part region. So what I did was just to add an inch allowance to it. I just added an inch allowance there so that I'll get my desired measurement. Why I didn't fast forward this place is because I want you guys to see how all these things are being done. After drafting, how I go ahead and cut it out on the material. So I don't want to fast forward it so that you understand everything so clear. So you just need to take your time, apply patience while watching this video. If it's what you really want to learn, if you really want to be good at what you do, or if you really want to go into sewing, you can learn from here. That's why I didn't fast forward this part. That also does not mean I won't be fast forwarding any part if I need to, but in this case, I don't want to fast forward it. That's why it's taking us so much time, but I believe we're okay with the time it's consuming. So now the next thing I'll be doing after this is to cut out the back part of my material. I just place the front part to the back part to cut it out. You can as well draft the back part before cutting it out, but I decided to do it like this because you can also do it like this or like that. So here I went in by half inch to avoid my zip from bulging. If you don't want your zip to bulge, like this thing you wear clothes, the zip will not relax at the back. This is how to eliminate that. You just come in by half inch. Though in most cases, this thing doesn't work. Let's just be honest. There are some things you will do, even going in by half, even coming down to do it. At the end of the day, you see that your zip is still bulging. So in most cases, it doesn't work. And again, it also depends on the material you are working with. It depends on the material you're working with. So in case your zip does not relax, sleep well, just manage it comme ça. But if it does, fine. If it doesn't, try as much as you can. Maybe you try eliminating more of that half inch. Maybe you can go in by 1 inch. I don't know how you want to do it, but in most cases, it is what it is. So here I've attached my pepper gum to the back, and I also attached my pepper gum to the front and then my breast pad pad. Then I'll be sewing it. I'll be sewing it all through. I'll just leave a space there, and the space I'll be using to bring out to turn it to the front. I also notched all the areas that needs to be notched, and this is the space I left over there where I'll be turning out my material from. So I've also gone ahead to join my breast, my center, my front. I've gone ahead to join it. I used my paper gum first before attaching my breast wadding to it. After doing this, make sure you iron it, like iron it flat down. Let it be proper ironed. I also did the same on the lining, but I didn't use my pepper gum on the lining. If you want, it's totally optional, okay? If you want, you can use your pepper gum on the lining. If you still do not want, fine. As far as you know what you're doing, you're going to achieve same results. Then at this point, I'm going to I'll be leaving that side open, where I will turn out the front of my clothes from. So this is the side I left open, and this is it. This is how it's looking at the end of the day. Looking so nice, so fine, so elegant, so gorgeous, so beautiful. Beautiful, not beautiful, oh, beautiful. So this is it. This is my sweetheart area. So this is my back. This is the back part of the dress of my blouse. So what I'll be doing at this back part, this is the side I eliminated half an inch so that my zip will not bulge. You get? So the next thing I'll be doing at the back of this place is to insert my darts. The next thing I'll be doing here is to insert my darts. I'll take my measurement from there, from the um from the from the top. Okay, I took my measurement from the side first to get 5.5 inch. I didn't minus my zipper allowance. So that's why it's 5 inch. So I marked my 5 inch there. Then I placed my tape at the top to get my vertical measurement, which is I came down by 8 inches. Is it vertical? Vertical. Sure, you're watching what I'm doing. So I marked it straight down to the down part of the dress. I'll also do the same thing, the same measurements on the other side of the blouse too at the back. Then this is how you're going to sew it. After folding it like this, if you're on your machine, you sew it in a slant pattern. I'll mark a chalk here. Yeah, this is what I mean. You sew it in a slant form. Sew it in a slant form to get your darts at the back. So at this point, I was done sewing it. So now we are almost coming to the end of this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if there's any question that needs to be asked, you can ask as well. After doing that, after inserting your darts, always make sure you iron it. So this is the sleeve I'll be working with. This is my sleeves I'll be working with. So now I measured 13 inches for this sleeve. Remember, I minused 6 inches, both the front and the back, making it 12, right? So I added extra 1 inch for my sewing allowance. So the 1 inch I added is for my sewing allowance. I'll divide it half half at the front and at the back. That is where I'll be sewing it from. Then the width of this sleeve is 8.5 inch. You can make it 9, you can make it 10, depends on how you want it. You can even make it smaller, 6, 4, 5, 8. It depends on how you want it, right? So now the next thing I'll be doing here is to pleat my sleeves on the dress. Okay, I'm trying to get my bust point, the 6 inches I minus my bust point. I just made sure that everything was on point before attaching my sleeves to it. So I'll start immediately after the joint part of the front, the joint where I joined for my bustier. That is where I started. I think I gave half an inch there, then started inserting my sleeves, and I pleated it like this. As you can see, I pleated it like this, and I sewed it in a slant pattern. I sewed it in a slant pattern like this, and I'll also do the same at the other side, which is the back of this material, the back side of this blouse. So this is what I did at the front. It's not even up to half an inch at that pointed part where I joined my dress, the bust point area. Then I went ahead to cut off any excess there, that is at the joining part. So this thing I did here, I'll also do it at the back like this, pleating it like this. So this is the back part. I'll sew it in a slant form as well. Make sure your pleat is facing the same size as the front. The back part of the sleeves, make sure it is facing in same direction how the front part is also facing. If it's facing up, make sure you face the back part up. If it's facing down, make sure you just let it be in the same pattern. Then at the end of all this, I've gone ahead to join my sides, dividing my measurements now into four. I've gone ahead to close it, dividing my measurements into four. You can see my chalk is still on it. Then I also inserted my zip, and it's looking so pretty. Like sewing can be sewing can be fun. Yeah, it only takes time. Sewing can be fun. So before I beaded this dress, I went ahead to I made sure she fitted her dress first before beading it, so we'll be sure that there's no amendment to this dress.